And we should have some sound from AJR's new single, Betty, from their upcoming album titled What No One Is Thinking. The band of brothers kicks off their latest headlining tour in North America later this week. And the A in AJR, Adam Met, is also featured in this Sunday's The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper. Adam, alongside some of the biggest names in music like Billie Eilish, Jack Johnson, and Bonnie Raitt, talked to CNN chief climate correspondent Bill Weir about their efforts to revolutionize the eco-footprint of live music.
Yeah, used to let it go, walk into the show.
Finding your tribe at a show can turn into a force for good. Just ask Adam Met, bass player and singer for the New York Band of Brothers, known as AJR.
We actually grew up a couple blocks from here. We grew up just down in Chelsea, and we started out street performing in the streets in Washington Square Park.
Yeah.
And we grew up listening to folk music of the 50s and 60s that our dad played for us.
But he also fell in love with climate science, human rights, and sustainable development. Got 2 PhDs, and when he isn't making music, teaches climate policy at Columbia University.
So music, it's all about how do you reach people, how do you talk to them from an emotional perspective, but really at its core, it's how do you move people. And honestly, the climate movement needs the same thing. We haven't moved enough people. We haven't reached them in the way that they need to be reached. We found that so many small organizations just focused on awareness or just focus on raising money. And we're past that point. We need to get as many people engaged as possible.
Join AJR and take climate action for your community right now.
So we did this on our last arena tour last summer, and we had 15% of the people who walked through the door of the venue actually take action. And I'm not talking about pledging to do anything or changing the kind of straw that you're using. I'm talking about on site. We had people phone banking, calling their representatives about local issues. We had them signing petitions. We had them registering to vote, volunteering for local organizations. 70% of the people who took action on site actually followed up and went to a second location after the show to volunteer, to sit in at community boards, to do beach cleanups, to do actually physically tangible things.
Right.
And Adam Met joins me now live from London. Adam, it is so great to have you on the show, and I'm really looking forward to this documentary. So you are featured next to some heavy hitters in the music industry, Billie Eilish, Jack Johnson, Bonnie Raitt, and you're all part of this growing movement of musicians trying to make eco-conscious touring and caring about our planet look cool. Talk to me about the relationship a band like yours has with its fans and how you're trying to use that to make change in the climate space happen.
Thanks so much, MJ. Yeah, so our relationship with our fans is such a deep and important one to us. You might look at our Instagram and see we have a certain number of followers, but really the fans that care, they're the ones coming out to the shows. And artists like us, AJR, and Billie Eilish and Jack Johnson are really using our shows in order to communicate effectively about these issues. There's a term I love, it's called collective effervescence, and it basically means when people are in the same room at the same time, all working towards the same thing, their brainwaves get on the same page. And if you can use that energy at a show to move people towards action, I can't think of really any other space in the world that motivates people the same way they're at a concert. Think about if you're at a Taylor Swift concert, right? Everyone is there singing, dancing, holding hands, and you don't even know the other people there. If we can capture that energy and move them towards climate action, that's exactly the power of a fan base. And Billy realizes it, and Jack realizes it, and we realize it. And that's why we installed a whole bunch of things on our tour last summer in order to move people to this kind of action.
Collective Effervescence could be your next new song. You clearly care a lot about this topic. You teach courses on climate policy at Columbia University. You've pushed for legislation in Congress supporting renewable energy. You founded a nonprofit called Planet Reimagined. You even wrote a book called Amplify, sort of a guide to modern day activism. How do you talk to the average person about what's at stake here? And what advice do you give people on practical things they can do to try to make a difference?
So the number one question that I get when I'm on the road from fans is, what can I do? I feel like the world is a messy place. It's really scary and difficult, and they have no on-ramps to be able to participate in activism. And that's why I wrote this book. Fans, like we were talking about, creating a fan base is one of the best ways to actually move people towards these kinds of actions. So the book actually does a deep dive into how artists and the entertainment industry in general builds these fan bases. How can we take those strategies from music and the entertainment industry and apply them to activism? We want to give people all of these on-ramps. So some people, when they first hear a song, they might not go to a show. They might not follow people on social media, but how do we move people to engage more? And so that's what I like to think about in terms of activism. How can we give people an understanding of how their local representatives impact them? So to give you an example, at the local level, that's how decisions are made about transportation, how you get to and from places, where your food comes from, where the next petrochemical plant is being built. That doesn't happen at the federal level. That all happens at the local level. And one of the most powerful things that you can do to get started in activism is to vote for a local official. There are elections in Texas that just happened where these elections were won or lost by 12 votes. Think about how powerful your vote is, and you can win or lose by just 12 votes. So I would say for anybody who's watching and listening, go and look up when your next local election is. There are hundreds of them happening around the US and around the world right now. And your impact is going to happen because you step out, you get your friends and family to go vote locally. That's step one.
And look, Adam, so much is happening in the world, and some people can feel overwhelmed sometimes just by the news. Artists like yourself generally give people a place to escape reality. What would your message be to fellow musicians on why you hope they will join you and your movement?
Yeah, so all of the academic literature historically has said that when you're trying to build a fan base or a movement, you use this metaphor of a ladder, right? You hear a song in the supermarket, then you'll go follow a band on social media, and then you will go to a show, and then you'll buy merchandise, you'll join the fan base or the street team, try and get other people engaged. That model doesn't work in 2025. So any artist that is still using that model of trying to move people up a ladder, I would suggest to use this new model that we developed. It's called a hurricane. If you think about the shape of a hurricane, it's kind of like a spiral, right? What we did as a band and what we need to do as the climate movement is bring people really close to us. When we first started as a band, we brought our fans in really close, gave them first access to tickets, to hear new music. We gave them access to us. And then we gave them the tools to go out in the world and become evangelizers for the movement that was our band. Gave them the tools to go and convince other people to then join the movement. And what that emphasizes is this idea of community, you having relationships with other fans. The latter is a very solo project, really. It's thinking that people doing this are doing this on their own. And a band and a movement are really now focused on bringing people together through this idea of community. People want to relate to each other, people want to relate to the music, and people want to relate to a cause that impacts them locally. So using this model of a hurricane is the number one thing that artists can do and that movements can do in order to build an audience for their cause.
All right, Adam Metz, so good to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Change Amplified, Live Music and the Climate Crisis premieres this Sunday at 8 and 11 p.m. Eastern on The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper right here on CNN. And we'll be right back.